Okay, I'm going to start with Kevin Henry. Go ahead, Kevin, from Roxpile with Mike Redmond.
Hey, Mike, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate it.
You got it.
Wanted to ask you about how the umpiring's been for you, and wanted to ask you which of the pitchers you've seen, maybe with some good stuff coming in there from your vantage point as the ump.
Well, first of all, I've had a great time being the umpire. It's definitely a new view for me, although pretty similar to catching, but I've enjoyed it. It's been fun to be able to sit back there and get a up close look at our pitchers and be able to talk with our catchers and just kind of have some dialogue with them and see what we're seeing out of our pitchers and I feel like I've done a decent job. So the guys are giving me a bad time, but that's part of the deal. But I've actually really enjoyed it and it gives me a bird's eye view of kind of how our pitchers are doing and like I said, and how the catchers are as well. I think our guys have, John Gray, Marquez. I mean, I've been back there for all those guys. They're getting their work in and they're throwing strikes. And yesterday was obviously a good test. Finally getting to play a inter squad game and so that was fun. And I know the guys enjoyed it. And we'll just keep at it. And I think my umpiring days are over. So, but I did enjoy it.
So who gave you the most grief? Got to ask that question.
Probably Murph. He was. I called a couple balls outside. He thought they were all-outside. I had him half inch on the plate, and he was giving me a bad time. But it was all good. It was all in good fun. So.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Thomas Harding, MLB.com.
When you first, after calling the balls and strikes last night, did they have it on the StatCast and a little heat map? How did you do? How did you really do?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know if they had it or what. So I haven't gotten a printout of my umpiring score. So, but I would say, I mean, just being honest, I think maybe the first day I did it, I missed 2 pitches. I don't know that I missed one the last 2 days. I thought I was pretty good, but
hey, you've got a future as an umpire. Hey. A couple of things about catching. First of all, Tony kind of emerged as that guy. He ended up getting most of the starts, most of the time last year. What is the growth from last year to now that you've seen in him?
Well, I think it's been huge growth-wise. And that comes along with experience and comfort and all those things. I mean, Tony has so many great qualities as a catcher. I mean, he's a leader. He cares. He works hard. He's a great communicator. Those are all, very important when you start talking about catchers, the things that we want. Buddy, demands out of our catchers, how they work with the pitchers and the dialogue that they have. So, and not only with that, but with the staff as well. Pitching coach with Fosty, and so he's just. It's been fun to watch. He's such a hard worker. He loves to work. Sometimes we got to back him off a little bit, but he's taken the information, and he really loves to go back there and gets a lot of pride and satisfaction of catching a good game and helping to guide our pitchers. And I mean, he's one of the best blockers I've ever seen, and he takes a lot of pride in that and his throwing too. So. He continues to improve. It's been fun now, this being the 4th year that I've been here, to see his steady progress, and can't wait to get out there and see him, for real.
What is the next step for him? I mean, you saw him definitely step up in handling the pitchers and the blocking and the throwing. Is it more offensive, or is there something behind the plate that you see maybe him doing a little bit better? One thing I noticed, by the way, is that he looks like he stayed in the weight room a lot during this break here. Was that part of it, to try to be more durable?
Well, I do. I think he does. He looks great, and he looks strong. You're right. He worked really hard while we were down, and at improving his body and gaining more strength. I think as a catcher, the stronger you are, the longer you can play, the more games you can play. It's a very physically demanding position, as you guys know. So he used that time to strengthen his body and his legs, and he worked hard on his offense as well. I would say, as a catcher, you're always learning and getting better. The more years that you play, the more experience you get, the more comfortable you get as a catcher. There's just so much out there and so many different types of pitchers. Each situation is different throughout the course of a game, so you're always learning, always trying to get better, always trying to help the pitchers. And like I said, that's one aspect of it, and the other is the offense. So I think if you ever asked any catcher, they'd say, "Hey, I love to hit." And, sometimes that gets pushed to the side because the defense is so important, but all catchers want to hit, and I know Tony's worked really hard at the offensive side of it as well.
And just to kind of follow up quickly, and maybe others will ask about this, but Drew Buter, Elias Diaz, they've played a bit in the major leagues, and also Dom Nunez, you saw kind of a taste of him last year, and he can swing the bat. If you could break down those three, because it looks like you could have some depth out of that position.
Yeah, I think we do have depth at that position, which is I don't know that every major league team can say that, and I think having these guys around has been exciting. I know in spring training, the first spring training, those guys worked really hard, and it was fun to really get a chance to watch Dom. Dom really continues to improve. I think he's getting better and better each year. Not only just his catching and framing, but his offense as well. And a lot of that comes with experience and confidence. Diaz, obviously, this was our first year getting a chance to see him coming from Pittsburgh. And, just getting a chance to watch him in spring training, he's got a cannon. He's a big guy. He works hard, was very open to making a few little adjustments to his receiving and his throwing, and I watched him throw yesterday, and it looked great, and he looked obviously like he'd been working on it. So to have the depth that we do at that position, and Drew being a veteran player and been around forever, I mean, he's still got an amazing arm, and he brings a lot to the table as well for us.
Hey, just before I roll off a couple things on Diaz, he wasn't there at the very beginning because of just getting into the camp or whatever, but do you feel like he can catch up? I mean, he was in the game last night, so obviously you feel like he's in pretty good shape there.
Yeah, he's strong, and he's ready to go, and we'll the first day we kind of eased him into the workouts with a couple bullpens, but he's strong, and he's eager and ready to get back there. So we got him in there for a couple innings, and we'll keep increasing his workload in trying to get him ready for the season to start.
Thanks, Red.
Yep.
Larry Patrick, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Mike, this year with the National League, a lot of changes in this 60-game thing with the designated hitter, guy on second base and extra innings and stuff. As bench coach, how's that going to impact you, and have you been thinking about the difference with these changes this year?
Yeah, I think, of course, I think we talk about, Buddy and I sit in that office and talk about all these situations. We've talked about extra innings, different philosophies. We've read a lot about, stats and analytics and bunting, no bunting. So we've definitely been studying to prepare ourselves as much as we can for the situation. Now, in saying that, until you really get into the fire and see how it works, that's really where you learn the most. But yeah, we definitely have been talking about these things. The DH, both Buddy and I are National League managers. I managed in the National League, so we love that style of game. So it is a little bit different, but I think exciting too. I mean, I being a guy who plans spring training and has to allot time for pitchers to go off and hit during the course of a day, it's kind of nice for me to not have to plug those guys into the cage or out onto a field to hit. They don't have to worry about that. Now they can just focus on pitching. So I think that that'll bring another level of excitement to the game with the DH, and we'll see. But we'll be, one thing I know with Buddy, we will be prepared and we'll be ready for anything.
Also, how about with American League West teams, and some maybe you haven't seen for a while, a lot of pre-scouting, planning on, I guess, to take a look at some of these teams that maybe you're not as familiar with?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's there'll be a lot of studying this year. We haven't seen Texas except for in spring training, so we don't see them a whole lot. So yeah, of course, there's a lot of studying, there's a lot of video, there's a lot of stats that we'll go through, and we will prepare the best that we can when we play these games, and we will be prepared to play these games in a short season.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Yep, you got it.
Nick Grove, go ahead.
Hey, Red, I was going to ask you this in March before the shutdown. A technical question. I had been talking to Diaz about going to one knee, his one knee stance, at least in certain situations. I know it's becoming more prevalent.
Yeah.
Even Drew Romo uses it. What are the benefits to it for you, and why do you think it's becoming more prevalent?
Well, I think there's, now there's lots of different stances. Guys go to a knee and they have one leg way out. I think it's just you really quieting your body and trying to get as low as you can in the stance to give, the best look for the umpire. And, I'm fine with guys going to one knee. That doesn't bother me. I mean, if that's what, is comfortable for them and works, and they're able to catch and from that position, then I'm all for it. So definitely the catcher position as far as stances has evolved since I played. But I'm all for it. I like it. I think it helps. Some guys are more comfortable, especially bigger guys are more comfortable when you put them down on a knee, and they can receive and catch the ball much better. So it's really a comfort level for those guys. Whatever they feel is going to be the most comfortable stance, I'm all for it.
It's just a strange thing that at least the timing of it, if it was so beneficial, why hadn't it been done for so long? I'm just kind of curious why. I don't know. You have any theories about why it kind of caught on?
Well, I just think that the position has evolved. There's different things. I mean, I know when I was coming up, you were taught really one way to catch. I mean, and it was a very conventional way, and that was how you did it. So I just think with the analytics and the receiving metrics and that has definitely added some of the exotic stances to the mix, where guys are super low and they're only concentrating on trying to catch that ball and bring it up 6 inches and try to get it as a strike. So I would say that probably has more of an influence on the stances than anything else.
Yeah, gotcha. It's fascinating. Thank you.
Red, thank you very much.
right.
Programming Nolan at Buddy at 2:40, and then I think we're going to have Nolan at 3:25. So thanks again, Red. We appreciate it.
Yep, you got it. Thanks, guys.